Yeah, it looks like it's particularly gusty down there today because
Attention.
I haven't seen them
Okay, relax.
struggle with aligning this much before.
Attention, go!
And both crews are away. Looks like Sport Imperial just heading over towards Temple Island. They'll have to sort out this steering.
You can see them steering, so the sterns come round. Well, the danger now is they overcorrect and come back in towards the other crew. But I think they've corrected back onto their proper station again now. This bit's really challenging for a steers because you've got to focus on getting your crew away, rowing with perfect position of the crew, but you've also got to steer looking in the wrong direction.
That's right, and the steering normally falls onto the stroke man. It's normally his or her responsibility. The athlete will have a movable foot on their foot plate, a movable shoe, which is attached to the rudder, so they make small movements, which is a really tricky thing to do. And we've seen some of those crews really pay the price in the racing this week, hitting those wooden booms, as we said.
Yeah, so this is the challenging bit because you start, if you saw the initial shot, we had buoys along the edge of the course, and then you go to the booms, and they're totally unforgiving. There's no, you hit one, it's game over. There's a steering aid. If the crew's now and they look down towards the start, there is a tall wooden post on either side of the course, with a V underneath it, which they line the two up and it helps them steer straight. Probably easy for Upper Thames because unusually, in a normal format for a straight race, Upper Thames, their stroke man is steering, Jake Davidson, whereas in the Sport Imperial boat, Merlin Dwan, the bow man, he's steering their boat. So two totally different ways of achieving a straight course.
And both of these crews have been very evenly matched to this point, but we're seeing the crew on the left-hand side in the Bark Station, that's Upper Thames Rowing Club A, start to just edge out their bow a little way ahead of Sport Imperial Boat Club on their right-hand side. It looks like Upper Thames are just keeping that beat up a little longer, whereas Sport Imperial is starting to fatigue now out of that start. It's normally about 300-400 metre mark where that explosive start starts to really pile on top of you and cause a bit of lactic acid, a bit of fatigue, and it's about the crews that can work through that and use that and then transition into a really strong race rhythm, but without coming down too early and without having too much of a speed drop out of that start.
Still, both crews have about 36 strokes a minute, which is quick, very coxless for. But you're right, Upper Thames starting to draw away. They seem to have that longer, more efficient stroke. We've seen it already today. Whereas Imperial looking slightly scrappier in comparison, but they have to because they've got to fight to keep on terms because they know Upper Thames are going to gain a big advantage going past their home boathouse, which will happen in about a minute. And so Sport Imperial have got to keep on terms.
And Upper Thames won the Wyfold this event 2 years ago, back in 2014, and this crew has Jake Davidson, who was a winner of the Britannia Challenge Cup in 2014. And they've been showing some good form throughout the season. They finished 5th in the coxless fours at the Marlow Regatta, and they also placed 4th in elite coxless fours at the Metropolitan Regatta in what was a very competitive field. So this is one of the top-ranked Upper Thames crews, and they just have the measure of the Sport Imperial Boat Club crew at this stage in the race.
And that looks the case looking at the crews here now. But that's not to take away from Sport Imperial. Some of this crew were runners-up in the Thames Cup, the club competition for Club 8 crews 2 years ago in 2014. So they know their stuff. They're talented athletes. And they're not letting Upper Thames have it their own way. We're approaching Upper Thames now, just as you see this 3/4 mile point you see on the left-hand side of our screen here. That's roughly where Upper Thames Rowing Club is. You should start to hear their support now as they come past. You'll also see the umpire just warning Upper Thames, starting to encroach into the middle of the course. So the umpire will raise their white flag and just guide them back towards their proper station in the course.
And we can see Upper Thames, they're on about 34 strokes a minute. It looks as though Sport Imperial are rating a little bit higher. They're trying to make a move now. It's so important, if you're going to do any damage, that you do it in the middle section of the race. Once you get to the enclosures, that noise starts. If a crew has an advantage, it's very hard to come back and really chip away at any lead there. So this is where they have to make the move if Sport Imperial are going to get themselves back onto terms with Upper Thames.
It's a really clever move from Sport Imperial to make their move, one of their moves, going past Upper Thames Boathouse. That's really clever. And they've come back. It looks like they've taken half, three-quarters a length out of Upper Thames. Upper Thames still leading, but this is turning into a really, really good race now.
And Upper Thames getting a couple of warnings there from the umpire. They are very close to this crew from Sport Imperial. We can see them starting to adjust now. And it looks as though Sport Imperial are taking that advantage. As Upper Thames have to correct their steering, that's going to wipe some speed off. And this is where Sport Imperial have made their move. As you said, Jim, a very clever move to use the Upper Thames boathouse, but I think also that moment where Upper Thames had to correct their steering, and every time you make a big adjustment, it does wipe quite a lot of speed off. It
does. But Sport Imperial have gone again. They've increased the rate of striking, the number of strokes they take a minute, again, up towards 37. Upper Thames, around about 36 strokes a minute. So Sport Imperial going for it. The question is, will that cost them towards the end of the race? Because we still have another 200-300 metres to go. And have they gone too early is the question.
And what a final this is shaping up to be. Semi-final, rather. And this is what we love to see on the Saturday. This is what the people come to see. This tight, hard racing all the way down past the enclosures. Upper Thames have responded. That is one of the key reasons to get yourself into the lead, because you can see any attacks that are mounted and you can hopefully respond. And it looks like Upper Thames have been able to do that, read that move that was coming from Sport Imperial, and they've been able to react.
A different style of strokes too. Upper Thames stroking at 36 strokes a minute. They're using a longer, stronger style of rowing. Sport Imperial 37, 38 strokes a minute. It's a really aggressive, desperate to try and get back on terms. The form book, as you mentioned earlier, Sarah, Upper Thames will be the better crew. Certainly not looking like it. It's that big a gulf at the moment. Upper Thames have the lead.
And here comes Sport Imperial. They've taken their rate up again. They're moving. They know it's do or die now. As they come past the enclosures, you can hear the crowd. They're whistling and cheering for these crews. A few dirty strokes there from Sport Imperial. They're desperate. They know this is their last chance.
Upper Thames reacting too as well now. They've taken a number of strokes. They row a minute up to. And just that extra length and power just seems to be taking the way towards the finish. They've got a lead now, and they shouldn't sacrifice that.
Down to about a 3/4 of a length lead to Upper Thames as they drive down towards the finishing line. We can see the crews coming straight towards us, and it looks like Upper Thames is going to just get their bow there in time. Relief there for Upper Thames Rowing Club A to take that race in the Wyfold over Sport Imperial BC. I think they'll be absolutely gutted, but proud of that race. That was a great race.
And you can see how much it's hurt them. It hurt both crews as well.